I'm Lisa, and I'm the mom half of this duo.
And I'm Shada. I'm Lisa's daughter. And welcome to Two Peas in a Plot, our little corner of the internet where we talk all things books.
We read across genres and love everything from underrated gems to longtime favorites.
And just a quick heads up while we try to avoid spoilers, we do talk about what we liked or didn't. So there might be a few light spoilers along the way just to give you some context.
So if you love stories and want to grow your TBR, hit that subscribe button and join the plot. Hello, welcome back. This is Lisa,
And this is Shada.
and today we're talking about Near Neighbors by Molly Clavering. It was first published in 1956 by Hodder and Stoughton, I believe is the pronunciation, published by Dean Street Press in 2021. And I was kind of interested in the publisher, so I've got some information on that. They're actually, I don't know how to describe this. Shada probably does better than me, but it's Furrowed Middlebrow is the imprint.
Essentially, like there are a few, at least in the United States, there are a few really big houses. They're called the Big Five now, the Big Five publishing houses. But underneath the umbrella of the publishing houses, there are all these little imprints that specialize in particular types of fiction, like thrillers or fantasy or sci-fi, or even Mom, I think you're going to talk about this is not a big five publisher. It's a small press, but within it they also have imprints. And this Furrowed Middlebrow, which is such a cool name but really hard to say,
Yeah.
is one of the umbrella publishers imprints. And I don't know, did you say what the was it did you say it was, I know we were talking about it yesterday. You said
Yeah.
it's Dean Street Press?
Dean Street Press, yes.
Okay.
And the imprint that I'm talking about is the Furrowed Middlebrow. I have a hard time saying that, and thank you, Shada, for she can she's more eloquent than me, let's put it that way. But I'm the one that read the book, so I've got to talk about it. So I had heard reference on other YouTubers, if that's what you call, please, Shada, interject the correct terminology. I have heard reference to the middle brow, and what I have learned is that this imprint of Dean Street Press focuses on, and I'm going to read directly from the Dean Street Press website so I get it correct. Dean Street Press is a publisher devoted to producing, uncovering, and revitalizing good books. Our list includes literary, general, and crime fiction. Our nonfiction range includes music, entertainment, history, biography, and memoir. Our first titles were published in February 2015. In October 2016, we proudly introduced Furrowed Middlebrow, an imprint dedicated to women writers of the early and mid 20th century in collaboration with associate publisher Scott Thompson and the Furrowed Middlebrow blog. I actually went to speech in school, so I feel that's why I have problems with my pronunciation.
Furrowed Middlebrow is really hard to say.
It's hard to say, and that wasn't even one of the things I had trouble with. It mine were the S's and the TH's, but that's for another time. So basically, going on about the book Near Neighbors, if we've already forgotten, and the author Molly Clavering was born in Glasgow in 1900. It looks like her books were first published in the late 1920s. And I came across the introduction of this publisher and author by the YouTube video. When Jean's Reading Live introduced the book, it sounded like I would enjoy this book due to the description of the character Miss Balfour, who lives next door to the lively and happy family of the widowed Mrs. Lennox. Miss Balfour's life is enriched by the Lennox family, and in turn, Mrs. Lennox and her children feel the same, and they become close and share the new beginnings together for different reasons that come from their interactions together. It is a sweet story of domesticity, challenges, possible romance difficulties for the Lennoxes, and more. Whomever Miss Balfour comes in contact with Everyone enjoys meeting her and becomes friends with her. Why this makes this so interesting is her sister Belle has just passed away at the beginning of the book, and now Miss Balfour has the freedom of watching her neighbors and the joy that they eventually bring her and she brings them. Miss Balfour was never able to reach out or to acknowledge the Lennox family as Belle would not allow it. Miss Balfour flourishes with her first meeting with Rowan Lennox, who bravely knocks on her door the day of Belle's funeral after Rowan catches Miss Balfour watching her from the window. Miss Balfour, which her name is Dorothea, has been controlled early on by her father, and then when he has passed, the sister Belle takes over the controlling of Dorothea. I almost want to call it a coming of age to a certain extent, but Dorothea is described as nearer 70 than 60. It was a lovely read, and I cannot wait to read more of this imprint. I have definitely found a new favorite book, author, and imprint publishing company. That is the description of the book that I so enjoyed and hope others will look into, at least if not that book, the other books that are available.
Well, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
First of all, what in the world is going on with Belle that she was so controlling?
Well, you find out later Belle got married, left the home, and Dorothea was left at home with her controlling father. I guess the mother had passed or left. I can't remember. I think the mother had passed. And the mother would protect Dorothea. But then, you know, Dorothea was alone with her father. She'd have to, basically pick up after him, cook. And she was controlled by the father. But then Belle left to get married. And then all of a sudden she comes back a couple months later, is what, if I remember correctly. But she was like the older sister, and she looked, I guess Dorothea was like timid and not self-confident. They don't really describe it that way, but that's what it sounds like. And so Belle would control what was right and wrong in the house and constantly criticize Dorothea. And actually, Belle is criticizing, it's not funny, but it kind of is. Belle is criticizing Dorothea at the dinner table, and I think she has a stroke and dies at the table.
Oh, wow. I'm not very familiar with older books. Like, I think one of the oldest, but I don't know if it was written in the 20s, but it's a children's book, Ballet Slippers.
Heard of
That's
it.
like the only like turn of this. I feel like turn of the century still means 1900s, like early
Yeah.
1900s, but we've had another century since then. So turn of
Yeah.
the century is technically the 2000s, but in this case, the early 1900s. So maybe and I know like Charles Dickens was all serialized and he had some fantastic twists and turns in his stuff in
Yeah.
the 1800s, but it's a really long-winded way of saying that's actually, it seems kind of edgy for the 1920s. Or I don't know if this, you said she started writing in the 20s. I don't know if this book
I don't
was published in the 20s, but
I don't know if I
I
even
think you
said
said
that.
that was like focused on women writers between the 20s and like 40s or early 50s. Because that seems very darkly comic
It,
for the sister to
yes,
have a stroke while she's criticizing her sister.
I know. It's dedicated to women writers of early and mid 20th century. It's what it
Oh, okay.
specifies. But I think this one was one of her later books. I believe she has a whole list of books. Not they have a date of 1956.
Okay,
So
so
it
it's still
wasn't
kind of
this book wasn't published really, really early like her previous books.
right.
And she
Still.
was next door neighbors to another author I really like, D.E. Stevenson, which you probably don't know, but I first started reading D.E. Stevenson. And then when I saw the videotapes of or YouTube videos, I always say
Videotapes.
videotapes, that shows my age. Um, Talking about this, it's just a sweet story. It's just, but it's interesting. And it's interesting how it's written. It's just different. And it's somewhat short, although the chapters there's not like a blank page and then a chapter. They'll have a like almost the full page and then the chapter starts at the very bottom, the next
Oh, that's
chapter.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's
it's
an interesting
published
formatting
different.
choice.
Maybe because they didn't want to waste the paper. I don't know.
I could see that.
You
Um,
know,
it actually elements of it that it sounds a little darkly comic in certain places, but elements of it remind me a lot of, and I could be totally off base here, but it reminds me a lot of that kind of gentle, sweet, very Anne of Green Gables.
hmm
And I love Anne of Green
I
Gables
love.
as much as I am a sci-fi fantasy and I skew towards grittier, like military sci-fi,
Mhm.
military fantasy. Um, I love Anne of Green Gables. So
I do too. I
this
think that's
sounds like I would enjoy this.
it is really sweet. And it's just watching this woman blossom who was, and she has no ill will. She's just very positive. I don't know if I want to go as far as joyful, but she is happy, and all these people come into her life. And I don't want to give this one thing away because that is really a surprise who comes through her door later on in the book. But it's all these people, even the Lennoxes benefit from meeting Dorothea and they all blossom. It's just a lovely, sweet story. And
That's another thing that I think we were talking about this. I can't remember a few episodes ago, but I don't remember exactly what book it was. Maybe Mrs. Polyfax. I know that
mhm,
title is a lot longer, but I love when authors focus on older women as their main characters.
I do too, not just because I'm older, because I think I've always liked, I think there was another book called Mrs. Pettigrew or something. Something was brought up to me. I'll have to look into that. But it's just fun because they're different. It's not your typical story to me. Um, I don't know, but I do love it too. And I think with the Thursday, I think it's called the Thursday Murder Club. It deals with older people solving crimes. So that's becoming a new group to write about, I guess I want to say, the older generation, because we are kind of funny and we
No,
don't
I
really
think that's
care what other
awesome.
people say.
This is this is way far afield from like the actual content of the book that you read about, but I have still been pushing. I think gently. I don't know if you're even going to remember that I recommended this, but it
hmm
reminds me of Terminator Dark Fate,
No,
where Sarah Connor is she's not very old, but she's an older, mature woman. I'm trying to see how old Linda Hamilton was. That came out in 2019, and she is a badass. She's
she
so
looked
awesome.
good.
Yeah, and she's got guns, she's got shoulder
Yes.
caps, and when you take a step back and look at it, that cast is all women because
Huh.
it's like an alternate timeline where the whole thing. I don't know if you're familiar with the lore of Terminator, but
Mm-mm.
basically Sarah Connor was just like a cute little waitress in the first movie, and then she has to like she's she gives birth to like the savior of humanity, but he hasn't saved humanity yet. She's got to protect her son so he can grow up and save the world. And in Dark Fate, he dies. So there is no savior for humanity. So she's been for the last like 30 years has just been trying to fight the Terminators that keep coming back from the future into the past. She's
hmm
fighting them by herself. And then I I don't know exactly how they explain it, but basically there's a new savior and it's a woman. And now Sarah Connor has to protect this girl who's going to turn into that woman who's going to save humanity. And then there's another like friendly Terminator that gets sent back. She isn't really a Terminator, but she's like augmented, and she's a woman. So that it's like this full cast of strong women
Huh.
with headlined by an older strong woman. So
That's awesome.
That was a really long-winded. Again, you're probably gonna have to cut a lot of that, but but
I
it's
say leave it in.
I I just really enjoy, and it's like it's my favorite Terminator movie, not just because it's mainly women. It's just a really good movie. And Linda Hamilton is amazing in it.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but I
Yeah,
do
you
want
need to
to
watch
see
it.
that.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's just more when there's older people, anything could happen, because you don't know if they just think differently. This woman thinks differently towards the Lennoxes, and they think differently when they deal with her. One girl just wants to avoid her. She's the oldest girl, and she's having trouble getting out of the house, and she's married, but her husband, I believe, is in the military. But she doesn't want to leave the nest. But her mom needs her to so she can have room for her other kids. I don't know. I think there was five. Can't even remember off the top of my head. I don't want to take the time to figure it out. But just a sweet story. Really enjoyed it. I plan on reading more and looking at the other imprints that they have. But it's made me, should we discuss what you got this morning? It's made us branch, or it made me branch out and want to read other books I would have never wanted to pick up
Oh yeah,
because,
and this was actually your idea. This was that
yeah,
this I feel like this would be a me idea, but it wasn't at all. Yeah, we are gonna
yeah.
Mom recommended yesterday. She was asking, and it was amazing. She goes, "You know that book, Monte Cristo?"
I couldn't think of the name. It escaped
So,
me.
so perhaps not Monte Cristo, but we are
Mm,
going to be reading The Count of Monte Cristo together.
yeah.
And I just got my copy in the mail this morning, and I knew it was big. And I did, we were talking yesterday, and I was telling my mom, I, I think I have like one of those old fancy Barnes and Noble like gold foil versions, and I do. It's in the cabinet behind me somewhere. It is
Oh,
beautiful, but I am not going to read that version because it is beautiful. So I got a nice Penguin Classics edition. We both got the same edition with the
mhm.
same translator because obviously it's in French. So we're going to read that. And again, that's not something, I mean, that's classic,
I'm,
like that's
yeah.
something you read in school, but we both realized we have heard so many good things about it over so many years. It's one of those things that just apparently transcends time and writing styles and even languages because it's certainly not written, it wasn't written in English. But yeah, we're both really excited to read
Yeah.
it.
I'm very excited. I did. I was looking up how to read it because years ago, I did an Oprah book club
I
on,
can't believe you did that. She picked serious books, like
oh, I
serious
know.
books.
I read Anna Karenina. Is that how you say
Oh,
it?
you know
Oh,
what?
so
That was
depressing.
long enough ago to where you read it
Mm-hmm.
and you had it, and it was that Oprah book club edition.
Yeah.
And then I had to turn around and read it for it was my summer reading for my senior year of high school. So
Oh
I
my
just you gave me your copy, so I read it. And it was better than I thought it was going to be, but my goodness, the Russian family drama. Oh, it was so depressing.
It was very depressing. I think there was one more book I read, and her books are very depressing, and I just couldn't deal with it. It's like, I want to read something uplifting or, I don't know, take me away after I've worked all day. I want to read for entertainment. Although I don't know, I've just heard good things about the Count of Monte Cristo that it sounds really wonderful. Although when you read the description, I don't know how it can be, but I'm ready. I'm ready to read it. We're gonna read it together, and I guess we'll be able to review it together. It's just Shada's busier than me. I have time on my hands.
Well,
So
sh- she's been since you retired,
yes,
found out yesterday her primary job now is to organize my dad,
yeah.
just everything about his life
He
and
will work.
supervise the way he cooks because my dad, Mom, you cook really well, but Dad taught you, right? For the most part.
He did.
I
He
mean,
did.
not like everything to cook, but I know
I follow a recipe. He doesn't need a recipe. Um, for the most part, though, I could cook following a recipe, but initially I had a really difficult time finding what to cook. Thank God I didn't have kids then. Y'all would have starved. But
yeah, we'd have been fine.
yeah, I'm a good casserole queen cooker.
Oh yeah.
That's my,
I made some tuna casserole the other day.
oh yeah. I made Cajun, what is it called?
Would you tell me
Cajun
it was Cajun
casserole.
cabbage?
Oh, Cajun cabbage. That's it. Well, duh.
Ooh.
So yeah, it makes a lot though. But my husband's been working in the yard and he was fine with leftovers for a couple of days, so we ate that, which is great. And I don't know
This
how we
is
got on to food, but
Well, this is neither here nor there, but I have to
mhm.
tell you, I tried freezing the tuna casserole and it
Yeah,
worked great
good to
because
know.
I'm the only one who eats it. Vincent doesn't like it.
Yeah,
Or he not doesn't like it, but
it's not his favorite.
not his favorite. So I
Well,
freeze
either is
it.
your dad's. I love
Yeah,
it. You and I love it. I don't even know if Nick likes it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just this girl thing. I love it. It's delicious. But yeah, I was talking to one of the ladies at the gym, and she said I could freeze the Cajun cabbage if I needed to, but not more than a month, to have leftovers later. I have one little piece left. I think I'm gonna put it in the freezer. But yeah, I think that's what's coming up is our I don't know when we'll start that. Shada, you're pretty busy at work. You have to tell me when we're good to go. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. In Oprah book club years ago. I don't know how many. It was quite a few years ago. But we were given timelines, like chapters or pages that we had to follow. So I looked it up, and it looks like a chapter at a time is a good thing to do with the Count of Monte Cristo. I have to do it really slow to think correctly. But sometimes certain chapters are longer than others, so you just have to read to your liking, is basically what it came down to.
Well,
So
and I'm a binge reader, so I'll just sit there and read for hours.
I will, but then sometimes I just got to get up. I don't know, and do something different. I like to play my card games, but
Oh, on the computer? I'm like, what card games are
yeah,
you talking
I like
about?
solitaire. I like those kind of card games. Although I know how to play it with regular cards. But I guess that's it for our discussion on Near Neighbors. I highly recommend it, thoroughly loved it. And I guess we'll sign off and say, see you next week.
We've got some interesting reading projects on the horizon for y'all. So, yeah, like Mom said, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.